Hey everybody, I am Tommy and you are on the lifeboat. Now, you can probably tell by the purple hat. We will be talking all things Sean Puffy Combs, P. Diddy. Let's see who's here. V-Bombs from New York. How are you? Good to see you. Kristen Melinda, thank you for being here. Lisa Miller, rumor that you may have a birthday coming up. Happy birthday. Barbara Aldrich, good to see you. Jane Aldrich, what's happening? Good to have you here. Archie's mom, long time no see. I'm glad you're here. So today, folks, we talked about this last night. So if you're showing up here and you caught last night's show, then you probably have a pretty good idea of what was going to be going on in the Diddy trial today. This was going to be the opportunity. What am I doing? Sorry, folks. I had on the wrong glasses. This is the opportunity for the defense to get a hold of Miss Cassie Ventura, who, of course, was, according to the defense, the love interest of Sean Combs. And a lot of people, there's panic all over the Diddyverse. I mean, all over it. Sammy Sue, good to see you. Welcome. A lot of people because she got her butt kicked today, and everybody's talking about this. The text messages were damning and all of this stuff. I think we might be selling the audience a little short, honestly. First of all, we know what's going to happen, right? We are people, everyone here. Hello, Amy. We're people that follow court cases, right? And if you watched the Karen Reed trial, when Jen McCabe was being interrogated by the prosecution, she had a field day. Carolina, Canada, how are you? She had a field day. Nothing to it, right? Just right through. Same with Buchanan or anybody else when they're on the stand. It's always very, very easy when your side is doing the questioning. Rose, good to have you. But this was one of those cases where, as I said yesterday, you really got to approach this with kid gloves. No matter how you do this, you're going to come out looking stupid because you don't want to re-victimize Cassie. And I'm not in the courtroom, obviously, today. So when you're reading transcripts, it's hard to get nuance, right? Especially if you're not very used to the people who are talking, right? There was a lot of very monosyllable, can't do it. Okay. One syllable, a lot of one syllable answers today. She really tried to do everything she could to keep her answers short and brief. And I think that shows a well-coached witness by the defense. Now, funny thing happened today, and I've heard this from people that were in the trial and the transcripts. There's a moment in this trial where it seems to shift somewhat, and the defense seemed to lose their way. It seemed like the questioning kind of got all over the place. And if you were following this today, you can tell me what you think. You can tell me if you agree with me. This was the point at which Sean Puffy Combs apparently took over the defense. By everyone who was there watching, they said the diddler went nuts. They actually called a short recess. And what caused him to get angry in the first place was simply this. Judge Subramanian said today, hey, how much longer are you guys going to have this woman on the stand? Now, look, by way of full disclosure, the defense probably should have as much time as necessary to cross-examine the witness. I'm not rooting for Diddy, but this is the kind of crap that lands you back in court, right? But she is pregnant, very pregnant, and they want to space this. The trouble is that Mark Agnifilo and Diddy's team have been telling Rune Subramanian, Judge the Honorable Rune Subramanian, all week long that, we'll have her off the stand by Friday. Don't trip. We got her off the stand by Friday. Today, they said, yeah, Your Honor, that might not work. We may have to go over into Monday on this. And the judge was like, oh, hell no. No, that's not happening. In fact, we've had a discussion about this, Mr. Agnifilo. Mr. Agnifilo, we've had discussions about this all week long. You're not getting this woman on the stand for another couple of days. As it is, they agreed to give 12 hours, right? So they're going to get her for the rest of today, and then they're going to be able to do into Friday, the morning, and then they will allow the direct and the redirect and all of that garbage. But once they said, we're not going to allow you to beat this girl up on the stand for days on end, Puffy, and he was named Puffy back in the day because he would get all huffed and puffed and pissed off as a kid and couldn't defend himself. Well, He was huffing and puffing today, apparently. He was really showing his anger, and he started to viciously write down things on paper. Subramanian took a break to give the diddler a little bit of a breathing room. Apparently, none of his legal team wanted to be anywhere near him. Normally, and this is very, very common in defense, you're a scumbag. You're sitting at this table, and you're accused of the most heinous crap in the world. So your legal team will throw an arm around you right there. They always want the jury to see that you're not scary. So they do everything they can to sit very close to you and joke. And if they can do, every time there's an opportunity to put a hand on you or put an arm around you, they do this. Apparently, after Puffy got puffy, everybody moved away from him. There was no interaction. And when they came back, the questions that were being asked, according to all witnesses there, it was very obvious that the questions that were being asked were being put to Diddy was writing it down and sliding it over. And then the defense would take this and sort of steer the questioning in that direction. I find this to be fascinating because we talked about this in the beginning. If you guys have been with the lifeboat for any length of time, when we were in the Diddyverse back in the day, I said, this guy's a control freak. Control freaks are a nightmare to lawyers, right? Karen Reed probably has a bit of control freak in her, but you can see that she has a lot of respect for her legal team. And she's very much a part of this. If you've seen any of the interviews, she talks about how they talk about how a lot of the great points, a lot of the directions that they went in came directly from Karen Reed. And I remember when I was fighting cases, and they would say, "You're the best. You're the best source we've got. You really do know what happened, right?" So you really are supposed to be able to work with your attorneys. Diddy apparently today was doing a lot more than that. He was asking questions he wanted to ask, and according to people that were watching it, there was a lot of glances back and forth between Diddy and his legal team because the questioning wasn't going anywhere, so to speak. And it was starting to flounder. And it sounded like an ex-boyfriend who was really pissed off and trying to get back at an ex-girlfriend. And who doesn't want to do that? But there you go. So Diddy was freaking out in there, losing his mind. And then the questioning, like I said, I'm not in the courtroom, so I'm just reading this stuff. And I try not to watch what people are saying until I can, read. I don't want my show to be based on what somebody else's opinion of this trial is. I think that would be a mistake. Now, I'll tell you something that's coming up. Yesterday, I said, while I was waiting for the Diddy case to come back, the chat is probably 30 to 40% Diddy sympathizers. It might even be more than that. There are a lot of people who are saying, these are troll farms. Nancy, good to see you. Just Joan, how are you? Hey, Tommy Bird. Monk. I'm glad you're here. I really am. I'm glad you're here. So you've got the entire world watching, and Diddy is doing everything within his power to sway the court of public opinion. And it doesn't take much to get that ball rolling. If you could get 50 or 60 trolls, right? 50 or 60 paid accounts, sock accounts, bots, whatever you want to, however you want to do it. But if you can target Law and Crime Network, Court TV, the local Fox affiliate, right, out of New York, the NBC affiliate out of New York, there's not a lot that you would have to cover. And you don't need a bunch of people. You just need some vocal people. And I'm telling you, if you've been in any of these chats, put a 2 in the chat. If you have seen some of this really rampant anti-Cassie Ventura, very pro Sean Combs chats. If you have been in a chat and seen any of that, please put a deuce up there for me. It's over the top stuff. It's over the top stuff. And I'll tell you, everybody's panicking because they brought texts up today. And the text said things like, from Cassie, things along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing, but that she was looking forward to a freak off, that she was horny, literally, and wanting to, procreate. She dropped the F bomb, said she was in the mood for that. Look, in order to prove the human trafficking thing, there are going to be stuff that gets brought in that he's not going to be charged with. The narrative right now is, well, yeah, we know he did domestic violence, but that's not a part of this case. It's absolutely a part of this case. And if you're not picking up on that, look, pay attention for me, please. What makes something human trafficking instead of just hooking, right? Instead of just going across the border and selling your butt. What is the difference between human trafficking and that? Well, there has to be elements that turn the simple prostitution style stuff into human trafficking. And one of those elements is that there is force or coercion, right? Well, if you think you're going to get the crap beat out of you if you say no, that's obvious that that's not somebody who's doing a normal style consent. Is this a hard concept for people? I don't believe it is. So I believe that a lot of what we're seeing in these chats are people that are either paid or I don't know. But the numbers are really high. Clifton, good to see you. The numbers are really high. Hey, Megan. The public sentiment drastically shifted after today. The narrative is being driven by Diddy. I agree. And it's being driven by, the questions that they were asking today were for us. I promise you. They weren't for defense. The questions that were being asked in court today were being asked for bloggers. They were being asked for people who were going to come out and start to run with the ball and say, you know what, man, Cassie was into this. She was a freak. She liked this. This is how she gets down. This isn't a shock to anybody, right? Put a 2 in the chat if you remember me predicting this a year ago. I said that, their defense from Jump Street is going to be, she's into this, right? It's, there's a law in this country that they passed years ago called the Rape Shield Act, which is supposed to stop this kind of crap from happening. Because there was a time where, they would put a woman on the stand and they would say, this guy, Ken, you had sex with him, correct? You enjoyed it? Okay, so obviously you had sex with the guy that raped you and you enjoyed it. I mean, it was really that bad for a long time. And they passed laws to keep this kind of stuff from happening. But nevertheless, whenever you're going to have somebody on the stand who is like in the position that Cassie Ventura is in currently, this is what's going to happen with the defense. And on top of that, Cassie got paid $20 million. That's a lot of reasons to continue with the story. Right? By the way, I believe everything Cassie says, so don't crap all over me. But you got to be realistic too, and you have to be honest. Right? It's kind of important that we all play the honesty thing, and that's currently what we need to do. We know what's up with Cassie. Is Cassie the greatest witness you could ever get on a witness stand? No, she's not. She's not. She admits to doing crap loads of dope, right? Admits to getting strung out on dope, that she was doing an awful lot of this. Now, I'll tell you what. I've spent a lot of time in the dope game, right? And I've worked with a lot of people. And the things that Cassie Ventura was going through require a hell of a lot of chemicals to make you forget about them or to make you capable, right? I knew a lot of dancers that needed to get really whacked before they danced. I knew a lot of prostitutes that needed to get really whacked before they could go out and sell themselves. This is not particularly new. Right? This is the kind of thing where if the stuff you're going into causes shame, well, there's a great trick for that, right? If you take an opiates are painkillers, right? And I promise you, shame is directly a painful emotion. And opiates will clear that crap right out of your system. And she had a real problem with opiates because of what this man did to her. You got to stop thinking of Sean Combs as a boyfriend. He's not a boyfriend. He's a pimp. He's a pimp. This is how a pimp gets a girl, breaks her spirit, right? It's like we were talking about yesterday. It's the carrot and the stick. And there were texts today where she was talking about freak-offs. This was the only attention this girl could get. She was not allowed to meet the family. Can you imagine he's putting you up in your own place. He's paying for your car. You got a career with him. You're seen on the red carpet, but you're not good enough to meet the family. Right? What does that say? Says to me, it's not your girlfriend, right? It's not. It's just some chick you're sex trafficking. Kim Porter met the family, right? Kim Porter started the family. They had 6 kids. There was a whole lot of, or not, I guess not all of them were Kim's, but Kim was the mother of his children. And that's exactly what Cassie Ventura wanted to be. See, Cassie did think that Sean Combs was her boyfriend, but Sean Combs did not think of Cassie Ventura as a girlfriend. You wouldn't do that to your girlfriend. She's suffering from K-hole. If you don't know what that is, it is when an overdose of ketamine causes you to go into a state where your vision is so messed up, it's almost impossible to be able to just navigate the day. While in K-hole, she was expected to continue to perform, and he brought in hey, tap out like a tag team wrestling, right? You know, she had there's another guy in there. Get up, go in there, and then let the other guy take a turn at you while he sits there and directs it. This sometimes goes on for days. When it's over, she's bruised and beaten to hell. She's into it, right? She loved this. This is what their get down is. I don't buy that. And I don't think anyone else is gonna. I don't think anyone else is gonna. When you hear these talking heads and you hear people on YouTube channels go, he ain't on trial for domestic violence. Yeah, he kind of is. He kind of is, right? Because those elements of domestic violence prove that this woman was afraid, right? And if you're a person who goes, well, she hit him back, so obviously she isn't afraid. I've been in a lot of fights that I had to fight back in, and I was scared shitless during. Does not mean that, the fact that you fought back doesn't mean you're fearless. It means you're scared and you needed to. We're going to see a lot made of these texts. You know why? Because they got nothing else. Nothing. They also know that the court of public opinion is a really big deal. For real. It's a big deal, the court of public opinion. Now, this is a little different here on the boat because, as I said, more than a year ago, we were talking about this. I was predicting exactly what these lowlives were going to do. And I predicted that people would be in the chats. Now, I'll be honest. I thought there would be 3 or 4%, 5%. The number of people that are there now, I don't believe these people are real. These are accounts. And the questions that were asked today, these were questions that were asked to make her look like a cheater. What the hell good does that do for his case? Honestly, you come out as the defense and you say, this story is a story of love. Diddy wanted today so badly to get on the record that she cheated on him. I don't think it would have helped him much. But he wants Cassie to look like a whore. He wants Cassie to look like a slut. He wants the world to turn on this woman for just being a stone cold freak that was trying to get paid, right? This is a hustle for her. That's all. And that's the story that he's got to get out. You understand? So I believe wholeheartedly that there are troll farms and there are content creators, legit real content creators who are probably, I don't know, maybe getting a 10 stack or a 20 stack, a couple of stacks of high society to get somebody to go on and talk about how, you know what? Cassie just got over on this dude. God almighty. God almighty. We're a smarter audience than that here on the Lifeboat. Folks, the elements of this. Think about Cassie Ventura for a second. We know she got her butt kicked, right? Literally, he would kick this woman in the face. And what happens after she gets beat up? Well, she gets sent somewhere to heal with a bodyguard watching her. Are you seeing all of this? As you read the elements of this, as you read what is being asked in court, you got to look a little closer, right? You got to get in here a little bit closer. Because the truth is, there's a hell of a lot we're hearing that proves RICO. All of these people that go, well, the RICO thing, they're not touching on that. They're not? Of course they are. Right? All of the people that Cassie Ventura throws names out and makes references to, yeah, Uncle so-and-so was there. And, we were supposed to leave, but his Secretary of Staff told us we weren't going. Or we were heading there, but he sent his bodyguard ahead of time to do this. All of this testimony is talking about employees who are getting drugs, setting up rooms, hiding her, transporting her. Giggity. This is his business. This is his company. This is his enterprise, right? That all rally around and do whatever this sick bastard does. Wants done so that every single week, he can bring his girl into a room and have gentlemen who are wildly well endowed abuse this sex worker, right? / girlfriend. He didn't treat her like a girlfriend. He treated her like a sex worker. And on the stand, she said by the end, that's what she knew she was. She knew she was a sex worker, and that was it. And it broke this chick, and I think really and wholeheartedly it broke her. Because what she wanted to be was Mrs. Sean Combs with the beatings and all of it. And I know, I saw the stuff today. A lot of people in there going, yeah, I'm a woman, right? I'm a woman. But why the hell do you stick around for 7 years? Because every egg you got is in the Sean Puffy Combs basket. Your home is paid for by him. Your jobs are all because he allows them to happen. He has made it super clear, and you know it to be a fact, that if he goes like that, your career is done. And I don't mean singing, because he killed that career right as it started. I'm talking about modeling, dancing, talking to people, anything. She feared for her life. During a time when they were separated, and he wanted this in court. Ooh, he wanted this in court. We weren't separated, right? We were together when she was with Kid Cudi. Like, somehow if she was cheating, right, that changes all this. I got news for you. You can't beat people up, and you can't do the things that you're doing based on the fact that your mate cheated on you. You just can't beat up on your significant other, even if they deserve it. I'm kidding. Don't hate. I'm kidding. The public sentiment drastically shifted. Yeah, it did, Megan. I think it's absolutely a setup. But the defense would like to make this about their relationship. They cannot. Because, truthfully, people who watch this, women who have had bad relationships, right? Guys that have been with I think the people in the jury are going to take away that there were two really different things going on here. Hello, Annabelle. I think there are two really, really different things at play here. And one of them is that she was in love with this man for real, and he was not in love with her. Obviously not, right? He wanted to see her abused by other men. That was his get down. And he's obviously a freak, right? He wanted the baby batter rubbed all over his nipples, and she needed to capture the ejaculate and then bring it into another room and massage it into his chest. A lot of weird, kink shame, whatever. That's some weird stuff. That really is. That's some weird stuff. By the way, in an unrelated case that has been filed, it's a unrelated in that it is a civil matter, not a criminal matter. There was reference today made to the size of Sean Puffy Combs' junk. Yeah, you heard that correct. In the actual filings, references were made to the size of Sean Puffy Combs' manhood. I'll tell you something. If one of your exes starts telling the world how big your junk is, that sucks. However, if they describe you as a donkey, you're probably happier than if they describe you as a Tootsie Roll. I'm not making that up. Said about the length and the girth of a Tootsie Roll, which makes you start to wonder, right? What was the big thing? Every time they go to hire one of these male escorts, they didn't need to be this or they didn't need to be that. You know what they needed? Big, black, right? He was making up for his own inadequacies, right? It's the only thing that makes sense. He was in a relationship with this woman, and he was thinking to himself, she's unhappy with me, right? Obviously, I'm not satisfying this woman. My cat. I'm not satisfying this woman. That's painfully obvious. So I'm bringing in guys who can do it. Now, throughout this testimony, though, you're hearing Cassie Ventura say all she wanted to do was be alone with this guy. And she loved him enough that she would go do a freak off and let 2 or 3 guys take turns on her so that at the end of that time, she could spend one-on-one time with her guy. It's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking. Archie's mom saw it. Itty bitty Diddy was actually a quote from that lawsuit. Did you hear that, people? Itty bitty Diddy. There is a 17-year age difference between them. That is the age difference. And when Cassie met Diddy, she was 19. She just turned 19 years old. So, I mean, do you remember 19 very well? I mean, you think you know everything in the world, but you don't know anything. In the first day of testimony, we heard her say she had never had oral sex before Sean. That's just stuff she had never done at all. This was a very inexperienced young lady. And then a 17 years your senior, right? 17 years your senior. This guy shows up and he's introducing you to sex and sex life. And this is, if you're really naive, if you've not, and I don't mean naive, dumb, I just mean inexperienced. And that's the first thing that you're exposed to. I'm sure the first time it was exciting. I'm sure it was. I've done things that afterwards I wish I hadn't done that were exciting the first time around. Hey, Lise, good to see you. South American friend. Yes, B-lady. Apparently, itty bitty Diddy is the length and girth of a Tootsie Roll. That has appeared in a lawsuit. So might have something to do with the fact that he needed to bring in guys who were well endowed to do what he could not to his, what do you want to call her? Bottom girl, for real. Ho, I'm not being disrespectful to her. I'm being disrespectful to him. Diddy was a pimp. That's what he was. He didn't have a girlfriend. He had a sex worker full-time on staff, forced to do these things once a week, sometimes for days on end. Knowing if she didn't do it, right, she's going to get the hell kicked out of her. There was testimony that she got caught in the back of a Suburban. You guys know how those seats go, right? Apparently, she was caught in the very back of that, and he was just stomping on her for a 10-minute ride home. Do yourself a favor later. Seriously. Say to Siri, set an alarm for 10 minutes. And get an idea. Because hyperbole is something that happens a lot, right? Exaggeration happens a lot, especially during beatdowns. After a riot or a fist fight or whatever, you hear people describe what happened, and they'll take 45 minutes to describe something that literally was over in 7 seconds, right? Because your brain gets really twisted. But if she was beat for 2 minutes, right, of him kicking her in the face and beating her so badly that she couldn't go out, she had to go and hide for a few weeks while she was guarded. That's kidnapping. Everything about this screams coercion, right? Screams there was violence. There was promise of, I'll destroy your reputation. I'll take away your ability to make a living. You're never going to work again being a singer or a dancer or anything else. I'm going to put out these sex tapes for the world to see. And you were with this rapper Kid Cudi. I'm blowing his car up, and I'm going to make sure that people see it. You know when I knew these were trolls? When the people in the comment section were going, well, he could have just blown up the car for, who gives a shit why he could have blown up the car? And it's blown up. But anyway, who cares why he blew up the car? The fact is, regardless of the reason, if you're Cassie, you've seen your guy, right? He's told you to carry pistols. You've seen him hand guns off to people. All of these things that you've seen, and he's kicked the hell out of you how many times? Dangled one of your friends off a balcony, and now he's blown up a guy's Rolls-Royce Corniche convertible. Think she might be scared for her life, for her career, right? For where she's going to live. He pays for everything. You got a guy 17 years older, pays for everything. I would imagine that she tried to do everything she could. In fact, there was a testimony that she said and it's in a text message, right? It was read in the court that I just want to be what you want me to, right? I want to be what you want me to be. That's horrific. If you find yourself saying to somebody you love, I just want to become whatever you need me to be, you have sold your soul, right? You're too far gone. That's a codependency. You're addicted to a human being, and that is bad. Real briefly, my take on ibogaine, because somebody asked it in the chat. Ibogaine, which comes from the iboga plant, and it's supposed to help opiate addicts. I can tell you this. I have talked about it at length in a couple of other shows. I will try to figure out which those shows are, and I will put it up because I have talked about it at length. It's a miracle for some people, and for some it is not. But it is not legal in the United States, so you got to leave the U.S. in order to do it. It is a hallucinogenic, so it's like getting off on mushrooms or acid for like 8 hours, and when it's over, you're no longer supposed to be dope sick. Didn't work for me. I mean, if it did, I wouldn't have had to, do anything else. But it didn't work for me, and I tried it a couple of times. It's a good buzz, though. It's a really fun buzz. Little man syndrome, like Napoleon, but his little man happens to syndrome in his pants. So instead of conquering nations, he attempts sexual conquering of weaker people. He's a coward. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And the fact that there is now a lawsuit filed that calls him itty bitty Diddy, boy, oh boy, makes doing time a hell of a lot harder, And I thought I was mad at my ex. Could have been a lot worse, I guess, right? If you're going to be having those kind of conversations, that's a pretty tough one to have. That whole itty bitty Diddy thing. I think that's it's probably going to be hard to live down. You know what I'm saying? Megan says Cassie was trying to leave the Intercontinental Hotel, Los Angeles, and he beat her in that video, force and coerce her, and then he attempted to bribe the security guard. Right? Predicate factors for RICO. Booyah! Yeah. But I'll tell you what, he didn't just attempt to bribe, right? He handed him a bag with $100,000 in it. And there is many other testimonies that are going to come forward, right? Allegedly, where they talk about how they got out of problems. Like he did this or he did that. And then you got to grease some palms, man. You got to pay, because the average person, man or woman, isn't going to watch you beat the crap out of your girlfriend and not call the cops. Right? I'm sorry. I just don't. And maybe Hollywood changes all that. Maybe because you're famous, you just get a pass and you can close your fist and punch a chick in the face. And everyone else is just going to stand there and be like, well, you know, it's just Diddy, right? It's Diddy being Diddy. Hell of a town, isn't it? Hell of an industry. Boy, I'm glad I'm not in the music business. Yeah, absolutely awful. It really is. It's absolutely awful. Now the entire world knows he's itty bitty Diddy. Wait for the t-shirts. That's the spirit. See, B-Lady gets it. B-Lady gets it. I would imagine we will see some t-shirts. But make no mistake. Number one, this ebb and flow crap happens in every single case. Unless it's Lori Daybell, right? Lori Vallow. Right, then they're gonna, or you're Jodi Arias, or you're one of those cases where they know they're just gonna roll over the top of you. Diddy has a dream team. The guy's got what more than a half a dozen attorneys standing there, right? He's got a big legal team, and they're not without talent. So there are going to be times where we watch this thing go back and forth, but do not read the stupid stuff that are written by troglodytes, right, that don't understand the process and assume, right, that the tide has turned and Diddy's going to walk. I got news for you. The safe money is on Diddy getting life. They're proving the elements of RICO. And maybe the world doesn't understand RICO. And I know people are going to go, you can't have a one-man RICO. You can actually, but that's not what's going to happen anyway. Let's say hypothetically that they reached out to Christina Karam, right? And through her attorney, she said, we're not talking. I'm not talking to any of you. I want no part of this. And she just kind of goes into hiding. You know how they usually do that? They check themselves into like a 6-month rehab. That's usually the hustle of how rich people get out of getting subpoenaed and shit like that. Whether or not you got any kind of a drug problem, you head on down to Passages Malibu or the Betty Ford Clinic or one of those really high dollar places where you're dropping, $2,000 a day to stay there or whatever. And you get about a 3 to 4 month stay so that you don't need to be around for this whole subpoenaing process. Doesn't mean you dodge the bullet. Very often after a case like this, so these people weren't willing to cut a deal. That means they're going to get prosecuted. They didn't want to pop up in the beginning and say, yeah, I'll testify for you. They're probably going to get prosecuted. Because if you knew that this guy was breaking all of those laws or you were helping him get drugs or any such stuff, then that's not a good look. And those people will end up prosecuted. I'd be really shocked if they didn't. No, they do not. You have to, in my humble opinion, you had a daydream that Diddy walked. I don't see how there's any chance on God's green earth that he could possibly walk. And I'll tell you why, people. So these predicate crimes are being met. And everybody has already shoved all their chips into the center of the table and said, oh, it's over one way or the other. The girls from Danity Kane are going to be taking the stand tomorrow. There are a lot of other people who are going to be testifying about who Sean Combs is and what Sean Combs has done. It's not just going to be her. We already know there are other women who have been raped or sexually assaulted by the guy. But we're going to hear from women who just are going to talk about the fact that he has to have things his way. And if he doesn't, he throws temper tantrums and, how he treats people. And when this is over, Mark Agnifilo and his team are not going to be able to rehabilitate the reputation of Sean Combs. They're watching that beatdown again and again and again. They're going to get that video in so many times. They're going to continue to go back to it. And that jury is never going to forget watching him kick the crap out of her. Right? And let's be honest, there are people on that jury that saw that way before they ever went in. There are people that knew about that tape a year ago. And if you did know about that a year ago, what else do you know about it? You know that he lied about it up until, they caught him, right? It wasn't me. Right? It's exactly what it was like, man. It's like that Shaggy tune. Yeah, it wasn't me. I called you, right? You had it in your hand. Wasn't me. Ugly stuff, man. Whoa, my rhinocerosaurus. What did I say, Tommy? About 2 months ago, the Diddy case is a distraction. But when the former FBI director is calling for assassination plots against a sitting and rightfully elected president, well, I'll give you this. This is capturing the attention of people all over the world. And from a political standpoint, there is so much going on that that we're not privy to, at least through what people these days refer to as mainstream media. There is definitely something to the fact that very often when they're doing this one, right? Don't look here, right? There's always some other thing going on. I believe that. I absolutely wholeheartedly believe that. And Diddy is convenient, isn't he? I mean, if you wanted a distraction, you want the whole world to look at something. This case is juicy, and it has been made considerably juicier by the efforts of an attorney from Houston, Texas, who, as you remember, was going to deliver. What was the number? Somebody help me. Was it 130? Herder of goats. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Mr. Rhinoceros, thank you again for the super chat. I appreciate you. And you're right. You were spot on. You were absolutely spot on. This is watch the movie. Don't look it up. Yeah, that might be a better bet. I don't want anybody to get this messed up at all. I think 100% we're going to watch Sean Combs get a life sentence on this. Blowing up Kid Cudi's car, right? That's a big deal. And I'm going to be really surprised if if they don't make a very large deal about the fact that this guy had AR-15s with obliterated serial numbers and high capacity magazines. You realize that an AR, a 30 round magazine is a standard magazine for a firearm like that. So when you're talking about a high capacity magazine, you're talking about the ability to shoot way more than 30 rounds. And the ones that he had were drums, right? So not exactly like the traditional drum that you would see like on a Thompson submachine gun, but the same concept where the bullets go around in a circle and you can put a bunch of them in there. And allegedly he had the twins. So that's usually 100 rounds. And I'm sorry, folks, like I'm not going to get into a Second Amendment debate with anybody on planet Earth, but 100 rounds is a lot. It's usually not something. I mean, I guess if you're hunting deer that wear flak jackets, and have a bunker to hide in or something like that. But a great point. Annabelle says, don't forget that he shot a woman in the face in a nightclub when he was with J-Lo, and that woman, right, has never changed her story. In the Diddyverse, she has the most consistent story, the dopest nerd. If you want to go over and check her out, she's fantastic. I've always considered her to be friendly with me from the very first time we met. She was just a very, very nice person. But she's never changed her story. She watched Sean Combs pull one up and fire it, and she caught it in the grill. But you're going to hear about him blowing up the car. You're absolutely right. Rhinoceros. There are much bigger fish to fry, and they're not gonna fry. And if this is a theme that anybody is paying any attention to, the Karen Reed murder case is going to go away, and whoever killed that cop and all of the people that helped cover it up, everybody walks. No one's gonna see any justice, right? The murderer of John O'Keefe isn't gonna get caught, and that's ugly. It really is. It's ugly. And when this Diddy thing is all said and done and over, how many people were involved in this? And I'm not talking about the people that they can RICO. I'm talking about all of the losers that went to these parties. And I'm talking about the people that got him set up in this, right? Clive Davis, man. A bifurcated tail, carries a hay fork, right? That dude's Satan. None of the big names in here. None of the big names that we really wanted to see get hemmed up in this, right? Where is Sir Lucifer Grange? Huh? He's conspicuously absent, isn't he? Yeah, you know what, Tommy Bird? They make them ridiculously large in size. You can definitely get drums that hold more than 100. I don't know what Diddy's drums were, but really, really bad in terms of from a legal standpoint. They're going to hit so many of the predicate crimes that show that his whole business was not just a business, right? This was an enterprise. And that enterprise got him dope so that he could keep his prostitutes. That's what they were. So that he could keep his prostitutes liquored up, drugged up, so that he could continue to put on these sick fantasies because itty bitty Diddy wasn't getting it done. So he brings in pinch hitters, right, to get his girl off. But he resents the hell out of her for wanting something larger than what he's got. And you know what? She probably doesn't want anything larger than what he's got. But that's in his head, because when you got junk that big, I guess that's what happens, right? But that's in his dome piece. So he becomes a misogynist, right? He becomes somebody that wants to bring guys in who have huge junk so that that junk can hurt her instead of be pleasurable for her. He's a sick bastard that needs about 400,000 hours on a couch with a psychiatrist and maybe a frontal lobotomy just on general principle. The more you think about the fact that this guy is like this, right? The more you realize that this makes a lot of sense. I mean, the pathology of it. Right? The mindset of why this dude feels the need to hire a guy called the Punisher, right? The Punisher to come in and perform oral sex on your girlfriend, right? Until she is literally has friction burns in her mouth. I'm not trying to do this to bum any of you out. But unfortunately, we're going to have people who are going to say they were into this. She was in the hospital for quite a while. It doesn't look like they were able to completely fix her face. You know what? We're going to see, there's going to be a lot more people that come through this, that are going to come through the witness box. We're going to hear from a lot more people that are going to talk about what a monster this guy is. And you have to pay attention when you're listening to this testimony. You're not just listening for the testimony of this guy did this, this, and this, or whatever. Listen for predicate crimes. Listen for things that in their nature prove the RICO case, right? Like when you hear one of the witnesses, like somebody like Cassie say, well, your head of staff called me and told me that I had to do this, this, or this. Or your bodyguard showed up and told me that I wasn't allowed to do this, this, and this. These aren't incidentals on the way to the freak-off conversation. You understand? This isn't incidentals on the way to her describing the rape. These are the things that make the sex trafficking, right? From prostitution to sex trafficking. Why aren't these just swingers that he's tipping? Well, because there's coercion, there's threats of violence, right? There's financial loss, there's loss of reputation. There's all of these elements that are making this girl pick up the phone and call somebody on Craigslist and say, come over and hurt me, please, for the entertainment of my boyfriend. Please urinate in my mouth, right? Said she almost choked and vomited at that point. It's so friggin' disturbing. It really is. It's so disturbing. And this is not a sexual thing. And if you believe that it is, then you're absolutely, you should get a tack hammer and whack yourself in the head with it a couple of times. I'm not saying that there aren't people that don't really enjoy this kind of thing. So if it's your get down, but that's not what's going on with Diddy. It's not. If all of the sex stuff with Diddy happened, if we were hearing all of that testimony and we didn't know that he beat the crap out of just about every girl he ever dated, that might be different. If we didn't see the misogyny in everything that he does, but you see him when he hangs out with the fellas, right? Seems to be very, very happy. This is a guy, in my humble opinion, and I'm no Drew Pinsky here, right? I'm not, I don't have a lot of letters after my name, but it seems to me that this is a guy that has some very serious sexual inadequacies, right? I still can't believe that Moren Comey is still in the Southern District of New York, and now her dad is threatening 47 openly. Yep. When is enough enough? It's here's the other thing that's a little odd. When they brought Moren Comey, for those that don't know, that's the daughter of the former tall bastard that was heading up the FBI. But when they brought Moren Comey in to the Southern District, and particularly on this case, we all kind of assumed, because her ballywick is people who hurt kids, right? That's really what her get down is she prosecutes people that hurt children. So it is a bit shocking that that there was nothing in this case about kids. But what's sad is that there was so much hype from the attorney in Houston. I bought into it like everybody else did, like almost everybody. There were some people that were pretty skeptical of him from the word go. I was not one of them. I think I wanted to believe everything. I really wanted to believe all of it. But I'll remember that it was 130 cases. Put a 2 in the chat. Hello, Nia. Put a 2 in the chat if you remember this. Yes, James Comey, tall guy. Very, very tall guy. I think enough is enough. And I think no matter what side of the political aisle you're on, we start becoming a third world country where every single time somebody gets elected, we got to figure out a way to try to get them out of office before the end of their term. It doesn't work out. It doesn't. This is the kind of stuff that erodes the fabrics of society. We've never, ever been in a place where your neighbor hates you because of who you voted for in an election. And that's a messed up place to be right now. It really is. It's a messed up place to be. And I am with the Rhinoceros because this is enough is enough. And I don't care what your political affiliation or leaning is. Enough is enough. And the crazy thing is that the populace has already said that. The people in this country don't want this shit to continue. That everybody's really, really tired of it. Right? It's the apparatchiks. It's the people that are in government that want this to go on, not any of us. I think we'd all like to just get back to living. You know? The hell do I know, though? Right? Con man on the next con. Would be the last guy to listen to. The last guy to listen to. I am, people. Life is like the Twilight Zone right now, says Archie's mom. It really is. We do need better candidates to choose from. The two-party system, I think, has failed really spectacularly in this country. They really do. And just to see the way that they hijacked it, Bernie Sanders would have been running against Trump. It wouldn't have been Hillary Clinton if they didn't cheat. It's just how it went down. And it's neither here nor there, but it's a mother-loving fact. Like, you can absolutely research it. It is a mother-loving fact. They just stole that from him. And I think that's pretty jacked. And once the system becomes that way, then you're in a third world country. And, when people are trying to lock up their political opponents, that's the kind of shit that happens in third world countries. It's not this kind of stuff that should happen in the United States. But we are, sadly, becoming a third world country. We really are. In a lot of ways, we're becoming a third world country. But you know what? Arizona was lovely. But sadly, I am going to be leaving Arizona. But I do have an announcement, people. And the announcement is this. Johnny Scoville and I are heading to the Diddy trial. It is official. And we are heading next week. So this is... I will tell you as we get a little bit closer. I'll tell you the exact day that we're going, but pretty fired up about it, folks. I really am. I'm very much looking forward to being able to tell you some of what's going on from inside where I can actually see it. In the meantime, I don't normally talk about content creators. You guys know that. Tissa Tells, I think, does a fantastic job. She's been in the courtroom, and I'll tell you who else is my friend from Joel from Surviving the Survivor. Joel has gone out and Joel's killing it. Between the two of them, I think they're really doing a bang up job. I also would recommend to anybody that if you have the opportunity and you can do a little bit more legwork, read the testimony before you listen to somebody describe anything, because it really does a fantastic job, right? When you read it, you're going to put it together in your head. And then when you hear people from inside the courtroom describe what's going on, you find yourself, all right, that makes sense. Like I was saying earlier, I had been following what was going on with, there was a paradigm shift in the questioning how this witness was being questioned changed. And if you weren't listening to anything people were saying and you were just reading it, you would pick up on it almost instantly. And you'd start going, what the hell caused that? Herder of Goats has gifted a membership. You know what? That is very, very kind, Herder of Goats. I really appreciate you. I was going to give away 10 of them tonight. I forgot to set it up before I go live. Tomorrow night, I will give away 10. Damn it. I kind of got to set it up before I go, but I would like to give away 10 memberships. So tomorrow night, be here. I will be giving some away. Joel is amazing. I'm a huge fan of Joel. I'm a huge fan of his wife, his mom, the whole crew. Surviving the Survivor has always been just an amazing group of people. Really enjoyed all of the work that I've done with the STS Nation. Had a lot of fun over there with them. And we'll see after the move. Who knows? I might be in that part of town. You know what I mean? Right on, Tommy. I trust life every day with Akon. People are people, and when you're in the I appreciate that, man. It's very, very kind of you. I mean that. Thank you. Yeah. There are a ton of YouTubers at the Diddy trial. There are absolutely a ton of them, and I think this is good. Because we can't trust the press. We can't. It's plain and simple. We cannot trust the press. The press is crooked no matter who's in office. They're crooked, always. That's why they have a 7% approval rate. Or as I like to put it, 93% of the world know they're full of crap. Nobody's buying anything that they say. And that's kind of sad, isn't it? Because there was a time like when, what's his name was alive? And that's the way it was. Walter Cronkite. When Walt Cronkite was alive, the entire world believed what they heard on the news. They could get behind that and go, yeah, you know what? If Walter said it, right? If Cronkite said it, obviously it's true. Now we just know that it's BS. We just know that it is BS. And I find that kind of sad. Let's see here. Yes, I heard Tissatel's state that Diddy had a rough day today and not to listen to outside people. She said Diddy's attorney spent more time appeasing Diddy than crossing Cassie. If you read the transcript, Professor Patty, there is a place at which you can absolutely tell. And when I first read it, I got nothing to give me any kind of perspective, but I kind of assumed, because there are a half a dozen defense attorneys, I kind of assumed that maybe they switched whoever was doing the questioning or whatever, because they started to really focus in. If you go back and listen to it with an eye of, hey, this is Diddy asking these questions, he's pissed. He's pissed that he has to be in that room. Right? He's a misogynist. He hates her. He'd like to punch her in the face as hard as he could right now. Right? There's nothing that would make him happier than beating the hell out of her, because she has done, right, what nobody else could. And I do mean what nobody else could. What? How many people did he kill in New York at that concert? Huh? In the early days of his career, when he had the basketball charity event, 9 people died, stomped to death. No responsibility for him, right? Nightclub. He shoots Natanya Rubins in the face, right? Shoots a woman in the face. Drives away from the club with a pistol in the car, and he's trying to pay the driver to take the pistol. Here's a $300,000 ring to hold on to. I'll pay you a pile of money. You can trust me. And at first, the guy says, yeah, man, that's my gun. And then he thought about it and went, oh, hell no, that's not my gun. Shine Barrow, on the other hand, went to prison for it, right? Not for shooting anybody. Nobody's ever been charged with that, by the way. No one has ever been charged with that. The only thing Shine Barrow went to prison for was the possession of the firearms, firearm charge. It wasn't for shooting anybody. But hey, Wharton Fissel, good to see you. Hey, Nancy, I'm glad you're here. But we know, right? We know that this dude has dodged bullet after bullet after bullet. Okay? It's been a lot of dirt in this guy's life. He's done a lot of crap that should have landed him in prison forever. And there's been many a time where they had him. Okay? It's gone to court. Had a murder beef. Or an attempted murder beef. Right? Firing off a weapon in a nightclub is a big deal. But he's Teflon, isn't he? And then this girl that he started abusing when she was just a little 19-year-old has killed him, has taken him out. And I'll tell you what, he's angry about it. He's super, super angry about it. And when he found out that he wasn't going to have an unlimited amount of time to beat on her, he lost his mind. Hey, Roger, good to see you. Hey, Sheila, I'm glad you're here. He literally lost his mind today in court because he found out he wasn't going to be able to keep her there for days on end, humiliating and embarrassing her. He, the defense has fought. They wanted the press and everyone else to be able to see the freak-off tapes. They thought that was important for Sean Combs and his defense. Don't give a crap about his defense. This is about humiliating Cassie for what she has done to him. All of the little things that they have done, it's all about humiliating Cassie, trying to make her life hell. Sean Combs is super, super angry. This is not a guy, never thought he would be taken down by a woman. You know? Recently, a few rappers like Young Thug are getting out fast, ASAP. Let's hope more do. Let's hope more do. You know, if you look at what happened to Bashir Gray, right? I think I'm saying that right. I don't know how you say that guy's name, but he was on Entourage, no, Empire, I believe was the name of the show that he was on. And basically, this guy, he got turned out. He got abused by Hollywood. He had a great career. He went and stayed with Will Smith, and his family allegedly ran out of the house screaming, literally, because of what was taking place in there. And now he's doing gay porn to make a living, and it's that Hollywood chews up and spits out people. Cassie is a very lucky woman, right? That she's number one, that she's as tough as she is. And that she got with the right attorneys at the right time, right? I'm so happy she got $20 million out of this dude. I'm sorry, I really am. I am so damn happy that she got $20 million out of this guy. And more importantly, has taken his sleazy ass out. Because without her, this never would have happened. I promise you. No one had the guts to stand up to him. Why not? Because all of those threats were real. You got this psycho running over and blowing up someone's car. Let me tell you something. If somebody blows up your car, or someone blows up your new girlfriend's or your new boyfriend's car, that's going to have an effect on you. How much do you think she saw over the course of 10 years? She was doing ecstasy. She was doing ketamine. She was doing Percocets. She was drinking all of mushrooms, all of these drugs that he was forcing her to do on the regular. I think Jenny from the block covered in a big way for Puff. Make no mistake, she did. And you know what? Worked out for her, didn't it? Think about it. Jenny from the block didn't just, right? They remained friends, right? Everything. She's worth $500 million. And her career has mirrored his. She's done a bunch of films, very successful with the whole film thing. She's had a bunch of albums, other people sang, right? A bunch of albums that other women sang that she got very, very successful on. And then she had her clothing line and her perfume line. Sound familiar? She kept her mouth shut about everything that happened with Diddy, and Diddy rewarded her, didn't he? Diddy and his team, right? They cranked her out a little Sean John kind of clothing line for herself. She's not just another entertainer. She's a woman well on the way to becoming a billionaire. And she did it in the exact same game plan that Diddy did. And I don't think that that's an accident. I think that she was probably rewarded handsomely for keeping her mouth shut when it was supposed to be shut. You know? Her taking him out is the best part for what she lost because of that man. Not worth that money, but at least it'll help her future, which he tried to destroy. You're right, Cindy G. And just as importantly, this literally smashes the piggy bank on the ground. You know that, right? When this case is over and he's been convicted, Diddy's carcass is going to be picked clean by everybody who is. And you know what? There will be people suing him that have probably never met him. Here's an interesting question. Tommy, might be a dumb question, but couldn't itty bitty Diddy have surgery to be a bigger Diddy? My understanding on this is that I've never needed to research it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It just sounded like a funny thing to say. But seriously, I don't. No, my understanding on this subject is that you can make it girthier, right? There's not much they're doing surgically to make it longer. There is a procedure where they disconnect it from the very base and move it forward a little bit. Doesn't sound to me like it would be a really good idea. It sounds like a really bad idea to me. But yes, he could have done things to at least make it so that it wasn't the same girth as a Tootsie Roll. But truth be told, I bet Cassie wasn't hung up on it in the slightest. She loved the guy, right? And you know what? We're adults. Are we adults? We are adults. Are we adults? I think we're adults. Am I going to bum somebody out if I say something? Can we act like adults just for a second? To the ladies in the audience, right? I have heard unbelievable noises that women make with one of these, right? I don't think itty bitty Diddy needs to be so hung up on that thing, right? There's all kinds of fun they could have been having, whatever, right? I think that guys get really hung up and twisted on having a small junk or whatever, and I don't think for women it's as big a deal as it is for the guy. Like I had a friend that owned an adult store, right? Like a sex shop, an adult sex shop. He had bought it from somebody, and we were talking one day, and he said, if a woman comes in to buy a vibrator, whatever you call it. He said, if a woman comes in, she buys one this big. If she comes in with her man, they end up getting one this big. He said 100 out of 100 times. A woman comes in alone, she's not trying to buy the biggest thing in the entire room, but her guy is usually trying to talk her into that, which doesn't make any sense to me. It seems like a really, really bizarre thing to me, but what do I know, man? The incredible thing, folks, we're smarter than the average bear here. We really are. The smell test, man. The smell test on this entire thing is going to be, is the jury, right, dumb enough that they're not going to listen to what the judge tells them? Because before they go into the back, they get jury instructions. And the judge is going to say, here are the elements that need to be proven for sex trafficking. They've been proven already, I promise, right? Was she afraid? Right? There only has to be a couple of those proven, but was she afraid? Obviously. Did she think she was going to lose her career? Obviously. Did he abuse her? Obviously. Don't let all of the idiots in the chat, right, who are probably bots in the first place, don't let them bum you out, right? Don't let them bum you out. Because the truth in all of this is that justice, I think, is going to prevail in this. Diddy's not getting out of prison. And that's the way it ought to be. Tomorrow, we're going to hear from more courageous women that are going to take the stand and tell you what this guy is doing. I think most people here will agree with me, there's no chance they're going to be able to rehabilitate Diddy's personality. When you have to start your entire thing by saying, look, our client's a scumbag, but he's not guilty of this, this, and this. Yeah, that's a tough icebreaker right there. If your defense is this is happening because he's black, actually it's happening because he beat on women and he did it again and again and again and again and allegedly did it to some guys. But who knows if any of those are true? I'm sorry, none of them are coming out in the criminal proceeding. I have an open mind, right? So yeah, I'm having an open mind. All right, people, I got to go and finish packing. I'm almost done. I literally am almost done. I have gotten down to, you know what's incredible, folks? I have I'm not joking you. I probably have 9 boxes, like full-size moving boxes full of clothing. It's embarrassing, the amount of clothing that I have. It really is. It is embarrassing, but I'm not taking any of it. I am giving so much clothing away. My big announcement is I am going to the Diddy trial next week, and I'm taking all of you with me. So it'll be me and Johnny waiting out in the middle of the night for our ability to get into the courtroom. My understanding is you got to show up at about midnight. So we will see what happens. You know why Squirrel is never in a basket anymore? Because all Squirrel does is play with her sister all day long. For real. And it is the kindest fighting you've ever seen in your life. They don't scratch each other. They don't bite each other hard enough to leave a mark. All they do is roll around on the ground holding on to each other. It's the silliest stuff you've ever seen. But it does cheer me up. Yes, I will be live streaming from there. You have my word. I'm going there to take you guys with me. The idea of this trip is the Scovilles brothers are going on an adventure, and we would like to take you with us. Kind of sounds cool when I say it that way, doesn't it? So next week we will be going, and I'm pretty fired up. And of course, you guys are familiar with how we do airport stuff. I'll be, you'll see me down there. If you've been with the boat for any length of time, you know what happens. So I will be seeing all of you then. And between now and the next time I see you, two things: try to reduce a little bit of harm, and stop trying to find happiness in the same place you lost it. I promise it just never works, right? Don't look for happiness in the same place you lost it. I am Tommy. I will see you on the next one. Love you guys. Good night.